Didi, I wonder if the €100 million spent on Paul Pogba was done on Mourinho's orders or Ed Woodward's orders, because when the deal was done 2 years ago, the claim was that United had beaten Real Madrid for Pogba's signature. I don't believe that. I don't think Real Madrid were ever in for him.
Well, we don't know that, but I think a fact is that the player has been here for 2 years. He's underperformed for the 2 years he's been at Manchester, and he went away in the summer and won the World Cup. I think his performances were not outstanding in the World Cup, but I think he was very good in the final. And clearly Deschamps knows what he's got in the player, and he was a mainstay, because whenever there was a decision for a player to be brought off, it wasn't him. Yes. Clearly and simply could have been him at times. And he's come back a World Cup winner, and I don't think it's a question whether the manager wanted the player or not. If you're a manager of Manchester United, sometimes players get brought in you may not necessarily want, but I think without a doubt he's a good player. Whether he's as good as people make out, I'm not too sure, but he's a very capable player. And
what do you say to
the last 6?
What do you say to Liam's point, Didi, which I think is a key point? If you were Ed Woodward, looking at the players that Mourinho has brought in at some price, Lindelof, for example, cost 31 million. Would you be anxious to let him pick some more?
100%. You look at Bay, you look at Lindelof, you look at Fred. Even though it's early doors, but I don't think that the question has to be made, because for me, the decision for him to leave Manchester United is a foregone conclusion, and I expect it rather sooner than later. His antics in the last few months, his comments in the summer, the whole Premier League, all the top clubs, whether it's Barcelona, Paris, they all went to America because they agreed on that new league they play in the summer, because it brings income to the club. And if you're a manager of Manchester United, you're an employee of the club, so you've got to go where you have to go. Yeah, it's out of your hands. It's not your decision. Don't moan about it, because that's the way it is. And I've got to say, the press conference he gave on Monday, when he spoke in a very obnoxious and condescending way to the press and asked for respect, I don't think he showed respect to many people in the last few months or in the last 18 months. And in fact, when he showed people, the press, that he won 3 Premier Leagues, the rest of the Premier League won 2 Premier Leagues, so the managers of the clubs now, I think it was a very sad and sorry sight to see a manager who's had a huge impact in the Premier League when he first came to England. The things he did with Chelsea, I think it was refreshing. I think it was good. It was something different. But to see him now, 12, 15 years on, or even longer, 15, 16 years on, I didn't feel sorry for him, but I think it was a very sorry and sad sight, the demise not only of a manager but also of a man. He must have forgot how to treat people, and I think what made him good in the first place when he came to Chelsea, giving players respect, making them feel like they're world beaters even if they're not. I think he's got the opposite effect on players now, and this is why Man United is underperforming. I think they've got a squad, bar City, as good as anyone. Liverpool got a great squad now. I don't think Man United is far off, but the way they play at the moment, you wouldn't think it. And this is why I think rather sooner than later they've got to make a decision, and I think it'll be the best decision the club will have ever made, because another manager, I think it'll be very hard to play worse than they do now.
Liam?
I think, if I could come in there, I agree 100% with Didi that must have been an embarrassing press conference for all Man United fans and all their directors to have to hear their manager resort to that, bragging about how many titles he's won compared to all the other managers in the league, was really, really embarrassing.
Yeah, I should just say that...
Amen. If I can just add one more thing, and I probably repeat myself here. He came to the club 2 years ago. Now, if you're a player at Manchester United, you come there's people in charge who look for houses, who help you with everything you need to be at a football club, to be happy, to settle as quick as possible. And if you say you go to a hotel, the club will say, okay, look for flats or look for a house, and if you don't find anything in 4 weeks, we will find you something, because you're not staying in a hotel, because it sets a bad example. Yeah. Now, if somebody's at the club for over 2 years, and I'm flabbergasted, and surprised is not even the word, that a club like Manchester United lets a manager live in a hotel for over 2 years. What does it say to the manager? What does it say to the fans, to the players? It looks like it's just stopping off.
Yes.
Yeah. And,
I must say,
for a club like Manchester United, I think they lost their identity. I think they lost their pride in a way, to let a manager get away with things he did do. And I think the press conferences he did, I think the comments in the summer in America when he says 70% of these players you won't see again in the season, I think are just the extension and following on from what the club has let him get away with it in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I must say, Liam, spending 2 years in the Lowry Hotel, it is extremely rare and very, very, very strange.
Well, yeah, and Didi's absolutely right. It sends out the wrong message, doesn't it? It sends out like, I'm just stopping off here. I don't really fancy this place.
Yeah.
I'm here to prove a point. I honestly think he went there with the huff after what happened at Chelsea, and he actually thought, I'm going to win another league title very quickly here, and then that'll shut everybody up about what happened at Chelsea. But he has lost his way in the last few seasons.
Yes.
He turns on his players far too easily. He doesn't defend them anymore, and it's never his fault. It's always somebody else's fault. And again, Eamon, I'll say to you, we were down in Cork, and we had a straw poll, a vote on who all the Manchester United fans down there, and there was about 400 in a 200 strong audience, and there was about 40, should I say, Man United fans, and not one of them put their hands up in support of Mourinho. Yeah. I think he's lost it.
Yeah, I actually think he's lost it.